All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Red Thread Ministries. Today we're going to be talking about the parable of the sower. Brian, how are you?
Yes, we are. Oh, I'm fantastic.
I'm glad to
It's
hear
been a
it.
long day. I'm tired, but
Well, we're
I'm
going to
ready.
push through it now, aren't we? Been a long time coming.
Not yet. Not yet. Maybe
Okay.
I doubt it'll be hard to make it through the episode.
Oh, you doubt that? Okay. Well, all right. Well, so we should
I'm ready to
probably,
go.
well, let's do
On
it then.
fire.
Let's do it. As am I. It's been a good week thus far. I don't know how it's been for you, but been pretty on fire for the Lord this week. So
Been better than I think every week's been getting better for me.
yeah, that's good, man. All right. So I'm going to start with the parable of the sower. All right. So it's Matthew 13, verses 1 through, what is it, 23, I think. All right. So that same day, Jesus went out of the house and sat by the lake. Such large crowds gathered around him that he got into a boat and sat in it, while all the people stood on the shore. Then he told them many things in parables, saying, a farmer went out to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky places where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. Still others' seed fell on good soil, where it produced a crop 160 or 30 times what was sown. Whoever has ears, let them hear. So the disciples came to him and asked, why do you speak to the people in parables? He replied, because the knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven have been given to you, but not to them. Whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. This is why I speak to them in parables. Though seeing they do not see, though hearing they do not hear or understand. In them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah. You will be ever hearing but never understanding. You will be ever seeing but never perceiving. For the people's heart has never sorry. For the people's heart has become calloused. They hardly hear with their ears, and they have closed their eyes. Otherwise, they might see with their eyes, hear with their ears, understand with their hearts, and turn, and I would heal them. But blessed are you because they see, and your ears because they hear. For truly I tell you, many prophets and righteous people long to see what you see, but did not see it, and to hear what you hear, but did not hear it. Listen then to what the parable of the sower means. When anyone hears the message about the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what was sown in their hearts. This is the seed sown along the path. The seed falling on rocky ground refers to someone who hears the word and once received it with joy. But since they have no root, they only last a short time. When trouble or persecution comes because of the word, they quickly fall away. The seed falling among the thorns refers to someone who hears the word, but the worries of his life and the deceitfulness of wealth choke the word, making it unfruitful. But the seed falling on good soil refers to someone who hears the word and understands it. This is the one who produces a crop yielding 160 or 30 times what was sown. Now I need to catch my breath. All right. So let's get into it, man. What are your thoughts?
Let's I'm ready. I'm I'm first going to read what my study Bible says.
Mm-hmm.
The parable of the sower reveals the importance of receiving the word of God into our hearts so the word seed can germinate, grow, and produce fruit. Results. Many distractions and hindrances can prevent the word from taking root, but each person is responsible to guard his or her heart, protecting what he or she hears, seed, allowing growth in the grace and knowledge of God, which is an interesting take of it.
Mm-hmm.
Straightforward. I
Yeah.
like it.
I mean, this is one of the easier ones, right? Because Jesus basically explains it right off the bat. But let's see. I took a few notes, dude. So for the
I
ones,
got I got tons of mental notes for sure.
do you? All right. Well, let's talk about the birds first of all, and the ones that fall off the path. So,
Oh,
like I said, I am going to lean on you heavily for this because I'm just getting back into it. But
hmm.
yeah, It's interesting that they compare birds to Satan, right? So like the seeds are the word, and like no matter how much you hear the word, Satan's always there to snatch it away from you because there's no foundation, right? So it's kind of like a
That's super true because I don't know, man. There's sometimes where I'll listen to the same preaching like 3 times.
Mhm.
I'll be like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know. Sometimes it's just hard. I think it's harder for me to hear.
Mhm.
It's easier for me to read
Right.
and get it.
Yeah. No.
That's probably why I'm better at just biblical things
Right.
because I can read it.
Right. No, I would agree with that because
um,
oh
it
my.
is weird that he says when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside,
Mhm.
and the fowls came and devoured them up.
Mhm.
And what does he mean by they fell by the wayside? I mean, I know what that means. It means that they fell to like the trail,
Mhm.
basically,
Right.
like the trail that would have went through the crops that basically acted as like how would you say it? Property barriers,
Mhm.
really, almost like fences, but
Right.
also walking paths
Right.
that took up both of them. So that's what he's talking about there.
Yeah, when I was
But
studying it, I got the
but the thing
same.
about that is that oh really?
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
The thing about that is that's most people.
Right.
That's a lot of seeds falling by the wayside at the moment.
Mhm. Yeah, dude.
Those birds are full, dude. Those birds are
Yeah.
blowing up.
Yeah, especially after what we watched yesterday, dude. Ugh.
They're talking they say don't feed birds at weddings and stuff. These birds are blowing up their stomachs.
Oh man. So, all
Yeah,
right.
that's just they don't get it. They don't even care,
Right.
really. It's just like, oh, it's just another guy preaching.
Mhm.
No concern of mine.
Right. That's a weird one, man. But I mean, given all that we're surrounded with right now, this makes more sense than ever. And I think it was Paul Washer that said we may like be in the hardest time to be a Christian because of all of the stuff we have to deal with. Like younger people, right? Generation
Sure.
Z or whatever they are, right? They're constantly bombarded with all this stuff. You and I were fortunate that we got to grow up in a time where cell phones were just becoming a thing. Like we really didn't have all of that
Yeah.
stuff to
I
distract
had like a
us.
really terrible flip phone in high
Right.
school.
Right. But you couldn't get on the internet with it, right? And
Super pixel. No,
right.
no,
And then
no
we
internet.
we had
Mm.
dial up, right? So you could barely it'd take you 15 minutes to load something up. So it's like you wouldn't be out there on Reddit or 4chan or
Not
whatever looking up terrible
not to
things,
boast, but I mean, I got cable internet like in like '98 or something. Like it was really because my dad's just like a super big nerd about tech stuff, and
Really?
we just always had we just always had tech stuff. I always had the latest video game system and the latest like computer stuff. You know,
Interesting, dude. I didn't know that. I did know the
really?
I did know that you had super fast internet in the beginning, like before anybody else got it, essentially. But I didn't know
Yeah.
that he was that big of a tech nerd. And I say that endearingly.
I think it was more like he wanted us to be,
Ah, yeah.
maybe.
He's got that foresight, dude. Looking into
I
the
don't know.
future.
He just likes entertainment,
Yeah.
watching stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
And now he
don't we
just
all?
builds roller coasters all day.
Like Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Planet Coaster.
I never played that one. I did play a lot of Roller Coaster Tycoon back in the day, though.
I've played Planet Coaster, but not Planet Coaster 2, which
Mm,
is what he's doing.
that's funny,
And
dude.
I should, you know?
Yeah, well, sure. I mean, I don't know if it could top Roller Coaster Tycoon, though. Those half-built,
I don't know
huge
either.
roller coasters, you know?
The first one. I love the first one the most. We
Yeah.
are getting way off topic.
Yeah, well, I mean, we did say we talk about video games sometimes. Anyways, So, is that all you have to say on the falling by the wayside?
Oh,
Because
I think so.
I could listen to you talk for hours, about these things because we have talked for hours about these things.
What are the birds? Who are the birds? Why do they
Worldly,
want the seed?
the little demons, right? Isn't that kind of the gist of it? They don't
I
want
don't know
you,
why would demons want the seed, which is the seed would be the word of God, right?
right, to keep you from it, right? They don't want you listening to that stuff. They want you consumed by the world.
They just by that I assume that they have you not pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
Is kind of how we're going with it, right?
Right, right, right. And maybe not demons specifically, but at least Satan, because in every iteration of this, I've read that they liken the birds to Satan. And I think I read something that said,
Well, Jesus said that at some point
right?
in one of the in one of them
Yeah,
in one of the translations.
right.
He's like, the devil hardened their heart or something.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I don't have that. I have at the moment. I just have King James.
Oh, are you? I think I'm using the NIV. I read that was actually one of the better ones for biblical study, but I do like King James a lot. I even bought the 1608 edition or 1611 edition.
I tend to like ESV the most,
Mm-hmm.
but I also like NIV. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with NIV except a few passages. Um, and I'm not huge. I'm not like a big King James purist.
Yeah. Right. I like the 1611 version. Dude. Seeing the way they wrote back then, it's really fascinating. Hard to understand sometimes, but really fascinating. All right, so let us move on to the rocky places where they did not have much
Yeah,
soil, and they sprang up quickly because the
yeah.
soil was shallow. Now,
These
admittedly,
are people that are moved emotionally,
mm-hmm, yeah, and I
but
go ahead,
didn't have enough faith.
right,
I think.
mm-hmm,
I think
and
these are people that they love the story, but they as a story.
mm-hmm, right,
I think.
yeah,
Or they like the idea of it and then they quickly realize, wow, it's really hard
right,
to do this,
right.
and they quit immediately because, as we say around here, Christianity is living on hard mode.
Yeah. I would think that would probably be the most common um, take on the rocky places. Like they get moved by the word, but there's no foundation, right? They don't look past maybe going to church on Sundays and hearing the pastor talk, and then they leave, and they do nothing throughout their week to secure that foundation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they almost see it as entertainment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, Jesus said some cool things.
Right. Right.
Can't wait to hear what he says next time
Tune in
and not
again.
apply it to my life at all. But hey, he's smart.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what's interesting? I have, and this will get a little off topic, but I have a friend who's a Buddhist, and I think pretty much throughout all religions, he is at least revered, him being Jesus, as
Yeah.
like one of the most legendary, not legendary, that's not the right word. I wanted to say prophetic, but that's not. Yeah, prophetic
Here I
teachers.
thought legendary was a good is he's a legendary man.
Mm-hmm.
If if you could call him a man.
Right.
That's that's what Josephus said, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really? Yeah. See, I'm still in Genesis
Yeah,
then.
yeah, one of the well Josephus was the scholar
Right. Mm-hmm.
at the first century, and so he was like a non-Christian source of Jesus
Mm-hmm.
being written.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, Jesus was a man of great, power or
Yeah.
great wisdom. I forget.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, if you would say he's a man at all.
Mm. Yeah. He was
And I was
close, huh?
like, he knows he's heard some things.
Uh huh. It seems like
People are talking.
there were a lot of people that were so close, and I know the Chosen is uh, dramatized, but like there's so many instances where people were so close, and I'm sure that happened throughout. Was it Nicodemus? Right? He was right there, dude, and then he didn't go with him. It's like, how can you be so close? You have to take 3 steps forward.
Yeah,
Just call out to him, and that's it.
Nicodemus is. It would have been cool if he had a Pharisee
Mm-hmm.
follow him.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Nicodemus plays his own roles. I mean, he pays for Jesus's tomb,
Right.
which in their day, in modern days, I forget how much money it is. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like $1.5 million
That's insane.
is how much that his tomb was worth.
Whoa.
Because it was a brand fresh new tomb. No
Right.
one ever even been buried in it.
Right. That's a lot of money, dude. Ugh.
Yeah.
But
So I
does
mean, Nicodemus, you know, he's not nothing.
right.
you know.
But is that enough? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, at that point, yeah, you're right. I mean, did he do that just because he respected him?
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't know,
Right.
but I would assume that he became a believer after the resurrection, much
Right.
like Jesus' brother,
Mm-hmm.
who was it, James,
James. Yeah.
didn't didn't really believe that he was the Messiah until he was resurrected.
Mm-hmm. No, better
Then he's
late than
like,
never.
"Whoa, bro!" Maybe he always had a little bit of brotherly jealousy.
Right.
Hey, why are you the Messiah?
Yeah. Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But then he's like, "Oh, okay, wait a minute."
Yeah. Well, I
Came back.
will I will say back to the rocky places. I was worried about that a lot. And I may have talked about it before, but I get really into things. Like with the guitar, right? I bought the guitar, I bought an expensive amp, I bought all this, that, and the other. And after a couple months, my schedule got busy and I just stopped playing, right? And I do the
Yeah,
same.
I haven't heard you talk about it.
I
Yeah.
know, dude. I've just been so busy or just avoiding it, I guess. But I do that a lot. Like with this, I bought my Bible, I bought a theology book, I bought all this stuff, I bought all the other. And one of my biggest fears was being like this, right? Like so amped up for it initially, and then that falling away, right? Like nothing taking root and just burning up in the sun, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
I worry about that a lot, and still to this day, I worry a little bit um, because it's hard. It's hard. There are sometimes I'm like, yeah, I
Um,
could just stop this and life would be semi easy again, but that's no fun. That's no fun, dude.
it wouldn't though, because it'd be in the spirit would nag at you
Right.
forever.
Yeah. And I felt that when I was led astray the first time. So I understand that. It's just, man, I worry so much about that stuff. And we're going to get off topic again. But just like doing the podcast and the videos, maybe I said that before, but I'm so worried about it
You're
not
so worried
being
about
fully for
not
him.
being on fire, not being
Well,
so on
yeah,
fire.
that and then doing this stuff for the wrong reasons. Does that make sense? Like,
I don't know what other reason it could be. We're not big.
right. No,
No one
I'm
knows who we are.
right. And that's not why I say that. It's just, I don't know. Say something did happen. Say you and I made videos on the side, and for some reason they blew up, right? And then we started getting paid for all this. Like, I see some of these people on YouTube, and they're constantly promoting things. They're Christian channels, right? But they're constantly promoting this, that, and the other. And then they're like
Right.
one was a convention that they held, and like he had to make mention of how much the building costed and stuff like that. And I'm just like, to me, that seems
Gross.
like you're getting kind of lost in the sauce, and not
Yeah.
the word, like you're making this
You're
more and more about
bringing
yourself.
bringing some Pharisee energy here.
Right. And dude, that is my biggest fear, because the one thing that's always stuck with me, there was well, in the Bible, it mentions like I didn't even know you, right? Um, on Judgment Day, and
Yep, scary
I've
verse.
right, and I've heard near death experiences. One specifically with a pastor, and maybe we talked about this last time, but he's like, Lord, I did all of these works for you. I did this, that, and the other, right? And the Lord was like, no, you did it for you, right? So that's haunted me, dude. I worry about that in everything I do. But then I wonder if
It's
that's
hard to how do you do things? How do you do these things for you in America these days? Because no one's gonna. Well, you're not in America.
Mhm.
You're in an even worse place.
for Christianity. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, yeah, that's what I mean.
Hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't saying that Japan's the worst,
Yeah, well, you know how
but
words can be
but
twisted, so
yeah, they don't like Christianity over there. They don't like anything over there.
unless it's Japanese.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
kidding,
that's
kidding.
yeah, yeah. No, that's kind of true.
Yeah,
For the most part, a rule of thumb,
right.
should we say?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's just the truth of the matter because it's like what 98% homogenous, so
Yeah.
which is wild to think about because I don't know that there's any other place in the world that is that homogenous. But yeah, I mean, I kind of forgot where we were going with that, but
You were saying to do these things for you, and I was
right.
questioning how you could possibly do it for you
Yeah, right.
in Japan.
Well, yeah, yeah, right. I got so worked up about it initially that I even asked Chat GPT. Right? I know I say that I use it a lot, but it's not something I rely on. It's just to bounce ideas off, and
Yeah,
and
it's
it
fine.
it hit me with the fact that you're even thinking about these things is kind of telling. Right? It shows that your heart is in the right place
Yeah,
because you're worried. I was like, dang, Chat
I
GPT,
I
thank you.
told you I
Yeah.
told you that.
Yeah, right. But still, man, I get so wrapped up in my own head sometimes that I just let these thoughts consume me, these thoughts that are
Right.
probably not of God, right? I highly doubt that he would be the
Doubts. Yeah,
one, yeah, that he would be the one that's
he's not
causing me
the
to be
source
eaten
of
alive.
doubt.
Right. Right. Yeah, the source,
That
right?
also just seems like the flesh too. That doesn't really seem that demonic.
Mhm.
That just seems like self-doubt
Right. I have a lot of
and
that, dude.
probably unworthiness.
Mhm. Yeah.
And we should all feel that anyone that goes up on the pulpit and they definitely feel the worth,
Mhm.
they feel that they're worthy of being there,
Right.
they're probably not going to have the best of messages.
Right. And that's back again to Paul Washer. I feel like he
Yeah.
definitely embodies
Mhm.
unworthiness, right? That feeling of, dude,
Yeah. Paul Washer and Perry Stone are the only preachers, maybe Vodi Bakum, I've heard him say it, but preachers that are like, listen, what I'm doing up here is dangerous,
mm-hmm,
you know,
mm-hmm, absolutely,
because if they lead you astray,
right,
Jesus says that they will be punished even heavier than the people they led astray.
right,
So
right,
you better be right
mm-hmm,
with the things that you're saying,
yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely, dude. It's a big undertaking, man.
yeah,
It's just, I would love
and
to
so I
do,
like it. I
yeah,
like it when a preacher says that.
oh yeah, dude, because you know they're coming from a good place. It's not there's prosperity, because even Bishop, I think it's
They have a good fear of the Lord.
yeah, what Bishop, what is it,
Mari
Emmanuel,
Mar, Mari
yeah.
Mar.
He's like at one point because I was listening to his teaching on the parable of the sower. He's like, maybe I should just go to America and teach about prosperity. God told me to buy an $84 million plane, private jet.
He said that, dude.
Yeah, yeah,
That's funny for
dude.
him.
Yeah, I love that guy, dude. I love him. He's so on fire for God. It's crazy,
He
man.
is.
And
It's also funny that he always has a cross in his hand.
yes, always. I love it, dude.
Always. And it's like a different one all the time.
Right. Right.
How many how many crosses does this man have?
Yeah. It's just the way he talks,
That's all he's got a collection.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. And he calls everybody his beloved. I love that, dude. And he's like, our beloved Jesus. Just the way he talks, man. It's all so endearing. And it just
Oh,
seems
he's
like it comes from the
yeah.
best of places, man.
He's a wizard, a Christian wizard.
Yeah. I would believe that he kind of dresses like one. But I think that's the Orthodox style,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, that's what I'm making fun of, but
Yeah.
I'm making fun of it with joy
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
I like them. I like Orthodox.
It it doesn't.
I just got into an argument with the people online
Uh huh.
about. I didn't even tell you this. Another one. I'm always having arguments, aren't I?
I've noticed. Yeah.
Well, they're not angry arguments,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
But I'm in a debate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's called Christian Debate
Yeah.
on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
and this woman was talking about how her husband has swapped to Orthodox,
Mm. Yeah.
and they've always been Baptist before.
Mm-hmm.
She's still Baptist. She's a stay-at-home mom,
Mm-hmm.
and she's complaining about how much time he's spending now that he's found the Orthodox Church.
Mm-hmm.
And she says that she only sees him like 5 hours a day now. I'm like, that's still pretty good.
Right, dude.
And your complaint is that he's spending too much time in the Word,
Right. Yeah.
and you came here
Right, dude.
for our support on this
Yeah.
because it just sounds like you're jealous about you're jealous towards God. It's like you want to be the God of your husband
Right.
is what it sounds like.
Right. Exactly.
It's
Well,
gross,
I was thinking about that when you showed me.
gross behaviors.
Right. So I leave my house around 9, right? 9 in the morning. And my daughters are off to school by 8:15 ish, right? So I wake up at 7:30 or 8. And and then I don't come home until almost 7:30 some nights. Like I don't even get 2 or 3 hours with my family. And she's complaining about 5 not being enough. That's insanity,
Yeah.
dude.
Oh, there were quite a few women in there being like, I see my husband like 1 hour a day during
Right.
the weekdays.
Right.
You know,
But
so
but the fact that you're upset that the time he's not spending with you is spent with the Lord? What? What?
yeah.
What?
And the amount of people in there that were saying that he has a mental illness because of this
Right. I saw that, dude.
was driving me up the wall.
Dude.
I welcomed them to leave the group.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you think being on fire for the Lord is mental illness, why are you here?
Right. uh, but I thought
I
it was
don't understand.
fascinating. The stuff he's doing, I thought was fascinating. She's saying like he was taking 4 pages of notes, like always in his Bible and stuff. Dude, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
I know.
I barely take one
I
sometimes.
I forgot I even sent that to you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You did. Yeah.
Yeah, he's taking notes, and she's like, he's going to try to read the Bible in a week. I'm like, okay, that's kind of manic and zealous, but it's also like kind of awesome
Right.
at the
Yeah.
same time.
Absolutely.
Like, okay, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, dude,
Yeah.
try it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A week, dude.
that's what I want.
I fancy myself a pretty decent reader, but the Bible
Better
in a
than
week, dude. Oh.
better than what your wife's got going on. She's just complaining about it, you know.
Right.
So
Yeah. Oh, man. But anyways, that actually unintentionally rolls into the seed that fell among the thorns, right? So
right,
that's the world, that's people around you, and that is what so significantly changed. How do I word this? That's probably what aided in me falling away so much is the people I had surrounded myself with. The military culture, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that drinking after work is very common. Drinking on the weekends, going out
they
partying, and just
they
spending a lot of,
drink.
right. And so that was instrumental in my spiritual demise for so long. And then you have people who are out here getting upset that their husbands are leading their household spiritually, faithfully and spiritually, you know?
I know.
Right. So, man, it's just
She's just
so
it
easy.
just seems like she's just mad about the Orthodox Church or something. I don't know.
That's probably where it comes from, right? She's upset that he's He's no longer Baptist. But
Oh, right, because he wants to be baptized again
right, yeah, that was another part, right?
at in the Orthodox Church.
I mean,
And I've had my pastor, if I want to call him my pastor,
mm-hmm,
doesn't want to baptize me
right,
either because I've already been baptized before. And I'm like, yeah, but that was with that was in a hot tub.
right,
Um, we were hanging out and we decided to do it. I
mm-hmm,
confessed my sins and
mm-hmm,
he baptized me. It was like 3 in the morning,
yeah.
just us two in a chlorinated, dirty hot tub. Nothing seems right.
Yeah.
He also has weird beliefs now.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't think he doesn't think being gay is a sin.
Mm. That's interesting.
And I'm like, everything about this isn't doesn't seem right anymore. And I fell away, and now I'm back
Mm-hmm.
better than I was. Wow, dude, I landed right in that.
I,
See that?
I saw that, dude. I was trying to follow you.
And yeah, and that's
Yeah.
funny.
Uh, sorry, got distracted. Maybe we shouldn't be doing this, but yeah. Well, is there anything in Scripture that says you can't be baptized more than once? I mean, is there? There would.
I don't think so. That's why I was like, makes it sound like it's a bad thing. Everything I say, he makes seem like a bad thing.
Ah, okay.
My pastor. I don't know why he does this, but it's what he does.
Huh. I mean, have you been going to that church for a long time? I think you said you stopped and started again or something, right?
Maybe a year.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's yeah, because we had I don't know, we had some arguments.
Mm-hmm.
Because after church, well, they have a cool idea
Mm-hmm.
that after church he picks up the like the wireless microphone. He walks around giving the microphone to anyone
Mm-hmm.
who wants to talk.
Yeah.
Look, but the bad part is that a lot of them just want to talk.
Ah.
They they don't even know, dude. So much of the time they're like, "Oh yeah, me," and then they're
Right.
like, "Oh, what am I going to say?"
Yeah.
Now that I have the microphone, what am I going to say?
Right.
They just know they wanted to talk. They don't even know what they're going to say.
Right.
So many times they don't even have anything in their heads.
Right.
Like, and then they just say something usually kind of stupid. And I'm like, and I just got so mad about it that I was like, dude, this isn't church
Right.
anymore. This
Mm-hmm.
is something else.
Right.
Um, and that kind of, and we played too many board games.
Mm.
I'm like, listen, fellowship isn't getting together and playing board games. Fellowship is getting together talking about Jesus.
Right.
I can play board games with people online. I listen, I can play better games with better friends,
Yeah. Right.
but my better friends aren't Christian.
Right.
The only thing you guys got going on is that you're Christian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can we focus on that?
Right.
We're we're the church.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
man,
they're
it's
like,
tough, dude.
it's just the way it is around here, I guess. I don't know, dude.
Yeah. Well, that's you kind of wonder if that falls into. I think we're unintentionally going back to thorns and being choked by by plants, because that's kind of what that sounds like, right? I, man, that's a very weird
I
take
don't
to
know.
have.
I
But
don't know what his thoughts are really.
yeah.
Does he think it's sinful to be baptized again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm like, I haven't been baptized. I mean, that's been 16 years ago.
Right. But where does that come from? Like, I just don't
And
understand why that would ever be a bad thing. You wanting to essentially just
I know.
recommit, right?
I know. Well, I also told him that I wanted it to be done in nature.
Yeah.
I want it to be done in a river or
Mm-hmm.
something, a river or a lake.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think I talked about this in episode 1
We did.
too.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I shouldn't even be talking about it then.
No, it's
But
fine.
yeah, I guess it's still on my mind.
Yeah, as it should be, right? I mean, have you reached out to
Yeah.
anybody else, like any other churches or anything?
No.
Yeah.
No, but that's kind of what that's what I thought when he said. I'm like, well, if it's not going to be you, it's going to be someone else.
Right.
So why fight it? Oh. I don't
I
know.
guess the thing for me is, if he's gonna that was a nice shot, by the way. If he's gonna do that, at least give you a good reason, right? Because it
Yeah,
sounds like he hasn't.
he didn't even give a reason. He just said he'd pray on it. And I know what it means when he'll pray on something. It means that he'll say that, and then you'll just never hear from him.
Right.
Because that's what it's always meant in the past.
Dude, that's just, I don't know. I'm not a pastor. I don't know what goes into that, right? Um,
Right. Hey,
but
me either.
but I it's weird that you would have to pray on that, like whether or not. I mean, obviously, it was a cop
I
out, right?
agree. I agree. It doesn't it? It
Yeah,
always kind of seems like a cop out when he says, "Yeah,
right.
I'll
That's
pray on it."
that's what it sounds like to me. Like that's a very easy out, right? Because who's going to argue with that, right? Like, oh, you need to pray about it. Like, obviously, no one's going to contend that. Like, yeah, you okay? Well, if
It's
that's what
like
you need to do,
you
please
you can
please
go
do it.
ahead and pray on it. I've already prayed on it.
Right. And it's
It's
about
my baptism.
right. It's about you and the Lord, not him. Dude, it's just that's crazy
But
to me.
him acting like that just makes me want to find someone else.
Right. And that's kind of what I was saying in the first episode. Like, I think we can be our own worst enemies. We being all encompassing of Christians, right? Because stuff like that, why does that even need to happen? Just do it, right? Just do it. Do the
Yeah, why is
baptism,
it it's not a big deal.
right?
I mean, it is a big deal.
Well, yeah, for you, right? In your spirituality, but as a pastor, is that not his job to ensure you're on the right path? And
Right, as a member of his church,
right,
wouldn't he want to baptize me?
right.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Oh, dude, so close. Look at that.
Yeah, yeah. And
We're playing putt putt, by the way.
yeah, we're playing to kind of give us some video for the next one. Although if people like the blacked out screen, that's fine as well. We can do that. I know you mentioned that
Would be
it's easier if you're just like laying down. It's kind of dark, so you don't have to.
It's popular for videos to be black
Really? Let's see. That's
for
how
people
little
to
I
go to
know.
sleep to.
You know.
Because our podcasts are pretty long
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and for a couple of deep voice guys, like I can assume
Speak
people
for
may
yourself. Yeah.
fall asleep to us.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess. I guess I would just assume that people are watching, right? Because I never watch the sermons I listen to. It's always on my second monitor or on my phone, and my phone's in my pocket. So I guess what you're
Yeah.
saying makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
exactly.
Right.
It doesn't matter if there's a video. I mean, it's a
Mm-hmm.
podcast. We're on other podcast locations where there's not any video at all.
Well, I feel compelled to talk about the friendship aspect of it. I know we're getting off topic, but it would be so awesome if just one person heard this and we could make a friend off of that, right? And then we could play video games or we could
Oh,
just
dude,
talk.
I I check the Discord every day.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, dude. I I,
I'm
I keep
waiting on
updating the
someone
link.
to come.
Right. I just
Someone's going to be
I don't know
our
what this
first friend. Though
right. Yeah. Hopefully. But I
you don't know
don't
what you
I
don't
don't
know
know
what.
what's making me feel this way, but I feel very I don't know. Like that's really what we need right now is more friends who are on the same path as us, right? Or maybe even someone who doesn't know, right? Like they found this by accident and they know that we talk about video games or something, and maybe we could talk about video games a little more. If
That would be fascinating.
yeah, but just one person, man. I think that would be so awesome to just bring other people along.
Yeah,
Because me
yeah. People need
personally,
to realize.
go ahead.
Everyone listening needs to know that I don't have Christian friends.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's
Yeah.
why we're here.
Right. And
Um,
you're pretty deep in it. I'm not, as of yet, right? Like my knowledge is still pretty cursory, like just top level knowledge. I'm trying to change it, but like if anyone's on the fence, this would be a great time because we could kind of learn together, right? I've got all these resources and just I could lend them to people, that kind of thing. just to bring people along for the ride. And I don't know, man.
I've been a believer since a child, but I didn't start reading the Bible until I was in high school.
Oh, really? See, that I didn't know.
You know,
Yeah, I remember what.
when you're that young, I don't really think you read the Bible. You just have people read it to you, or you listen to preaching or
Right.
something.
Well, I have a story for that. Um, I won't say what we got in trouble for, but one of my friends brought something he shouldn't have to school, right? And we were both looking at it. Sorry, I cleared my throat again. We were both looking at it, and the teacher caught us, and uh, I got a little bit of in school suspension for it, and that was actually the first time I read the Bible. This was like fifth grade, dude, and silly unknowing me started with Genesis. So let me tell you, I
Hmm.
that was wild. Like reading the genealogy as a what age are you in fifth grade? Like 10, 9, 10? That was
Yeah.
wild. But I mean, I had also been reading like religiously. All I did was read. I probably read more than I played video games at some point. Like the Lord of the Rings books, all of those things. But I didn't know those even had Christian connotations, like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I had no idea. But
Well, I mean, Narnia is way more Christian than Lord of the Rings is, but
right. But I mean, if you look at Gandalf and everything, right? He came back, died to the Balrog,
yeah,
came back.
if you watch the movies, they do a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, Gandalf and the wizards are angels
Mm-hmm.
in that universe. I don't know a lot about it,
I don't either. So I would be speaking out
but
of school, but
I've watched some lore videos.
yeah. Well, that and C.S.
I
Lewis,
sadly know a lot more lore about just other dumb things than I do Lord of the Rings.
like World of Warcraft.
Mostly World of
Yeah.
Warcraft or maybe Harry Potter. I know a lot of Harry Potter.
Oh, do you?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Witchcraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
just like, me and the boys, me and the Harry Potter boys, we're all the same age.
yeah.
I grew up with Daniel, you too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Daniel Radcliffe's our age.
Right.
So we
Mm-hmm.
literally grew up with the movie
Yeah.
and we literally grew up with
Right.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it holds a special place in our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, there's always I always like that they put Christmas in it.
Yeah. Right.
And sure, there's a lot of witchcraft in it,
Mm-hmm.
especially the origins of names in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Sirius Black, for
Yeah.
example. I mean, that's the dog star. That's that's the black dog star, Sirius.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it neat that
Yeah.
it's called the dog star and he turns into a dog? I mean, it's
Yeah.
like
Right.
how much thought was put into this? None.
Mm-hmm.
She's just like, oh yeah, Sirius, the black dog star. A guy called Sirius Black. He turns into a dog. It's
Yeah.
like
Well.
it seems cool when
Yeah.
you watch it, but then when you learn that, you're like, oh wow, there wasn't
Yeah. Right.
any thought put into that at all.
Right.
And there's a lot of things like that in those movies.
Yeah. Right.
That it's just her just taking little bits of witchcraft and trying to make it sound cool. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I don't think there's any real magic in it. It's
Right.
just all a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
It's like
Well.
universalism for witchcraft.
Right. Well, it was Christians weren't happy about that, right? If I remember, just because
No,
of the
yeah,
witchcraft.
my mom wasn't happy about it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them.
But I want to believe it was innocent, because I did like it. It didn't affect how I looked at things. I wasn't like, oh, dude, I got to get a book for wizards and be out here trying to cast spells and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that it did increase kids' interest in that by like 10,000%.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah,
Oh,
well, first off, kids are like not interested in that at all.
right.
So
Yeah.
to increase it by 10,000% sounds like a lot,
But it's just like 10
but
people.
when it was zero,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
much is it really?
Right. Right.
I
Right.
don't know because I know a lot of people that were into Harry Potter and just the one guy that I mentioned earlier,
Right.
you know. And I don't even know if he liked Harry Potter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
He just liked he was just so Wiccan.
Yeah, that's weird. That's
Some
always
people
been
just
weird to
want to
me.
listen to metal and be goth and stuff. And
Yeah. Oh yeah, that the whole Wiccan thing is so strange to me. Like that.
yeah.
In that.
Well, Wiccan's like white magic,
Yeah.
nature love based
Mm-hmm.
white magic. It's very Lucifer
Mm-hmm.
based
Mm-hmm.
in the way that, you know, oh, he's a like like the video that we watched that upset us.
Oh yeah.
I wonder
Yeah.
if we should just I wonder if we should just respond to that.
That'd be great.
We can make a YouTube video in response to a YouTube video,
Right. Right. I don't know if I'm ready to
And
get
we
that
could do
fired
that.
up again, dude. I
Oh,
just.
dude, I would totally do it. I want to. I got something to tell these people, dude. Got a few things to say.
It's just the
Quite a lot of things to say.
what's I want to know why they cling so hard to love. Like it's all love.
We're
This was
talking.
the
We're
new
talking
age.
about New Agers.
Right. But they claim love this, that, and the other, but the way they talk, like everything's a contradiction, right? People who
Mostly.
people who say that there's contradictions in the Bible, clearly there are not, right? It's all contextual in those instances. But you listen to these people talk, and it's a walking contradiction. Everything they say, they will contradict themselves in the same breath, dude. So it's just like,
Yeah, they don't. They don't care about like continuality.
right, it's,
They don't care about the next episode
right,
playing into the previous episode.
right, right. And
They're just all over the place. It's chaos.
in the I don't know. I just found it so strange that it always went back to, oh, we're all loving and this is love and I only feel love for you and I'm just like, oh,
Hmm.
that's a strange
Well,
thing to
love and
cling
my
to.
crystals.
Yeah, dude. I don't know.
Well, they're just like progressive Christians, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. Which is what I think the
Who think,
Christian on the far right was. I think
oh, for sure,
she said she was a pastor,
100%.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing you can't be. Yeah,
Yeah, well,
be anything else.
that aside, her beliefs were
Questionable,
borderline. Dude, I don't know.
heathenistic.
Yes, yes, very much so. And
She belonged on the New Age side quite a
yeah,
bit. Yeah,
I think she should have. There should have been a middle category, as you said, and she should have
yeah,
been
and she was the only one that should have belonged in there. Yeah,
right because that was the thing. Is just, oh man, she was
all
like,
she was a New Ager that also believes the Bible.
well, to say that you don't, because the New Agers said they don't identify as New Age, right, on paper or whatever they were saying, and then this the pastor says, I believe in the Bible and I love Jesus, but I don't always identify as a Christian. What does that even mean? You know, just a walking contradiction. What? I don't know, dude. It's just
They don't know. I don't think she knows what it means.
yeah, I guess. But that's a very strange thing. Um,
A Christian would just be someone that has accepted Jesus as your rabbi,
right? Yeah,
and you strive to be like him,
right. So
like a
it's
little child following his dad's steps in the snow.
it's
You're going to look like an idiot.
right.
You're not going to be able to do it.
Paul Washer. Yeah, I just watched that one, dude.
But but we're trying.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I just watched his sermon like that.
Does he
Oh yeah,
do
you
that
haven't seen that
exact
one?
analogy?
Oh yeah, yeah. Uses that one exactly.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll send you the
I
sermon
got
after
that.
this.
I got that from Rob Bell.
Oh really? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, he was like, we have to
the Numa, the
wake up
Numa
every morning.
series. If
Oh okay,
anyone's ever
yeah.
seen that, props to you if you know what Numa is.
Interesting. I don't obviously. But what point? Oh,
We would watch him in youth group.
oh okay. Let me make one last point, and this ties into the thorns as well. I think it was almost if the woman who claimed to be a pastor was scared to offend anybody
Yep.
and to be persecuted in a sense, right? Afraid of what they would say if she didn't conform to what she said. Like she was very afraid to hurt feelings or whatever, which in my mind is kind of like in a form denying
Well,
your beliefs, right? I mean, if you
in a
truly believe
way,
this way.
what she's doing is that she does what bad parents do.
Mm,
Is that she's like, well, my kids are my friends,
right, right.
and
Mm-hmm.
and I don't parent them because that would be mean,
Right,
and they don't like it when I do that. And
right.
so when I talk about the Bible, they don't like that, and
Mm-hmm.
so I don't want to be mean.
Right. But
Whereas I almost find it at this point, I almost enjoy it if someone gets mad about something I say because it's not something I said.
right.
Like, I didn't make this up.
Yeah.
And they're like, "You're a terrible person." I'm like, "No, you think God's a terrible God is what you're saying,
Right. So,
because I'm just saying what he said.
right. And it's
Don't shoot the
interesting.
messenger,
It's
but you can shoot the
yeah.
messenger. I will gladly respond."
Yeah. Well, as a person who is prone to anger, usually you only are provoked into anger if you know someone's right. Not this video. That was kind of like a righteous anger, I guess you could say. Because there was tons of like blasphemy and heretical stuff in there. But
Yeah.
people who get so upset when you mention Jesus's name, or like in those videos, they were getting all upset and playing victims. It's like you're only getting mad because maybe part of you understands that I'm right, right? Or,
Yeah, why else would you be mad?
right, exactly. So, trust me, I've lived that for the 30 plus years I've been on this earth, dude.
Because, like, imagine getting upset at someone for claiming the God you don't believe in, said in the book you don't read, that
Right.
unless you repent of the sin you don't care about or
Yeah.
believe in,
Right.
you'll go to a place that you don't think exists.
Right.
And they'll get real mad about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's sometimes even just
Don't
mentioning the
you
name.
call me a sinner?
Right.
Well, you don't even know what sin is.
Right. And they'll, dude, it's just so strange to me that you get so worked up over that. Even mentioning Jesus's name, it's almost like they're possessed, right? And the demon in them is responding to that negatively. Like, why are you
Well, it's
getting,
almost like, yeah,
why are you
almost like
getting
the
so
name
upset?
of Jesus
Right.
has authority.
Right. Exactly. And they just get so spun up so quickly. And it could just be a normal conversation, but because I've had it happen to me. People get very defensive when you mention you're a Christian. Like I was just carrying my Bible around, carrying it to work, and somebody noticed it, and they're like, what are you, a Christian now?" I was like, "Yeah, I am. It's helped me a lot." He's like, "Oh, I thought you were smarter than that. I thought you were logical." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, where's this coming from? I didn't say anything. I just had the book in my hand. Like, what are you getting so upset for? And then they personally attack a lot. But I mean that goes both ways as well. So I'm not saying that
Oh, right. I
everybody's bad.
remember you saying that because I said if you were a hot chick with crystals, you probably wouldn't say anything.
Uh, yeah, probably right. If I was attractive, I would believe
Yeah.
that. Yeah, but I'm not. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's the only reason. Uh, but again, thorns, dude. Especially here in Japan, nobody. And so cheating is a very big thing here. Like they keep it under wraps, but it's not under wraps. And actually, to my knowledge, STDs are very prevalent here as well because of lust. Because of all the cheating, because of all this. So they keep it under wraps because that makes them look bad, right? So they don't tell you,
You guys,
and then you get into
oh,
a
wow.
relationship with them, and then you get it too, and then you don't tell, and it just propagates itself. So you could
Gross.
just look at Japan as a giant thorn bush, I guess, but it's not. There still are, they are, for the most part, a very good people, very helpful, very polite, and all of that. But it's just kind of like that's what kind of sucks to me a little bit is knowing
But then
that
they're also really hard workers, and they're really
right,
stressed out, and
right,
they have legal prostitution
right,
in a way.
yeah, but that's initially when I fell away the first time here specifically. I knew a lot of good Japanese people, right, who didn't believe in God. And I wrestled with the idea of them going to hell, even though they say they lived, in my mind, right? They lived a perfect life, a sinless life by our standards. They just didn't know God, right? And accept him as,
Yeah.
accept Jesus as their savior. I really wrestled with that because I didn't think that was fair. But
Oh, isn't it in Luke? I think it's in Luke where Jesus basically talks about this.
yeah, I've read
He
Luke one
talks
time.
about people that people are judged based on what they knew.
Right. Exactly.
And he and he's like, you people who now have heard the word
Mm-hmm.
and deny it are
Right.
worse off than the people who never heard it.
Right. And a lot of people have said that they believe, and through their church, they believe that Jesus will meet you where you're at. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. You'll have to forgive me because I've only read through Revelation one time, but there is a period where you get to repent, right? That's when you take the mark of the beast or you don't. Yeah? Isn't that how that goes? Or am I horribly misrepresenting that?
I don't know what you mean. Do you mean yeah, I mean you can accept it or not, but it says if you do accept it, then
Right.
I forget what it says. Does it say that you're not forgiven
I believe so.
if you take it, or are you just cursed?
Maybe you are just cursed. But if you don't accept it, I think, yeah, I don't want to lead people astray, so I'm not going to say any more about it, but I would like to believe that he meets you where you're at because he is just, he is fair, he is all loving. So, but again, you have to look at it this way, right? We have the internet now. We have all of this information readily available to you. So then where is that line now? People who didn't have the
Yeah,
opportunity.
everyone knows Jesus, but
Right.
hardly anyone knows what he said.
Yeah, that's a good point. Right.
They know his name,
Mhm.
they know he died, they don't know why he died.
Right.
And
Right.
and if you tell them he died for your sins, that doesn't make any sense
Yeah.
unless you know the context.
And
So
right.
there's a lot to it.
And I am very much experiencing that with my wife right now because I was trying to tell her she's in the book of Matthew right now, as we talked about last time. And maybe I mentioned this before. I don't know. So forgive me. My memory's awful. But um, she doesn't understand a lot of things. And rightfully so, right? I understand it because I didn't either. And I still don't. But as I was explaining to these things to her, I get how people would understand that it sounds crazy. Because as I was listening to myself, I was like, oh, I get it. I get why. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that you have to have faith that all of this is true, right? And if you do not have that faith, that foundation of faith yet, it's like I could understand how you think this is crazy, right? I truly believe that, especially if you've never been exposed to it before. But on the same token,
Yeah.
they're
But at the
gods
same
and
time,
things. Right.
it's written like a historic book.
Right, exactly.
It's
Yeah.
not written like mythology.
Right. And in the time spans, I think it was Wesley Huff. The way he explained it, he's like, or maybe it was no, it was the Case for Christ book. I believe, and forgive me if I'm misquoting, but he said like the timeline is too small for any of this to be mythicalized, however, whatever word, or legendary, because it was written so close to when he died. He's like, it takes hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years
Yeah.
for these things to become myth, right? And we don't have that in the initial time span. Like it's all within the first 100 years, right? Most of the gospels were written in the first 100 to 200 years, he's like, that's not enough time for this stuff to be
They're all.
exposed
I
to
think the
myth.
latest one was written like in 140,
Right. Yeah, that's what I thought.
maybe.
Right.
Like Paul's letters would have been written before the Gospels.
That I think I knew at one time, but now that you say it, maybe I didn't.
That's
Interesting.
kind of what makes them neat, you know.
Really? Wow. Yeah, that Paul. I think it's
He's our
even
boy.
yeah, love him to death. But even in the Bible, I think was it in one of the Gospels they say you have to be careful because you could easily twist his words and set yourself down the wrong path. I'm pretty sure I remember reading that, but again, my memory is awful.
There is. There's a lot. There's not a lot, but there's a lot. There's some in it in the
Yeah,
Bible that talks about you changing the words and
right.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously not a good thing. Which, which is why doing a translation is like kind of scary in a
Mm-hmm.
way.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Right. But we just have to trust that these scholars knew what they were doing, right? But
Oh, and that Evidence for Christ book is great on that.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
I learned a lot from that.
Oh, you have read it. I was under the impression you had not.
No, I'm still reading it. I'm
Oh, okay.
still listening to it.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Or
just.
halfway through it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's awesome. It's just so crazy that he set out. He told his wife he would disprove it in a weekend or something like that, right? And he set out, and it turned out to be like 2 or 3 years, and then he converts to Christianity. That's crazy, dude. Because he was a journalist, right? And
Yeah, for the Chicago Tribune.
yeah, man, that's a wild concept. That's I even read that they didn't give the name, so maybe it's made up, but a black metal band in I want to say Sweden read the Bible so that they could blaspheme harder, and then wound up converting to Catholicism. If that's true, dude, that is so crazy.
That is funny. I've heard that, but
Yeah,
maybe I heard it from you.
yeah, maybe. Well,
I don't know.
I mean, there's a member of Korn that turned Christian. One of the guitarists,
Yeah,
I think.
Brian.
Yeah, it's like all of these people in positions where you would think are ordinarily godless, like devoid of God, right? Like acting, Hollywood, all that stuff. And more people are coming out and proclaiming faith. It's awesome to see, man. It really is. Speaking of growing
Well,
up
it's
amongst
always been
thorns.
a thing. It's always been a thing. It's just that it's so rare now
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that the ones that do, it's really pointed out.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's like it's literally mostly only accepted in sports now.
Right. Yeah.
There's still a lot of Christians in sports,
Mm-hmm.
and but not so much like any other entertainment.
Right.
Why
Yeah.
is that?
That's a very good question. Because I don't think you have to sell your soul to the devil to be good at sports. There's doesn't seem like the occult is behind
dude,
sports, you know?
dude, I wasn't even asking for that, but it's a pretty good answer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the occult and all of those weird things uh, behind fame, right? Acting and all of that stuff. You hear about it all the time. But
All the time. We talked about it last episode even.
yeah,
Talked about
right. But
Katy Perry.
yeah, dude. It's just this is all so temporary. And Paul Washer even talks about it. I know we're so far off track, but we keep tying it back in so it works. He talks about watching Olympic lifters, right? And how they're so strong and how it's so impressive. But there will come a time when someone has to help them to the bathroom, you know? And then and then they die, right? All of this stuff is so temporary and we know it's so temporary. So people choose to sell their souls for this temporary moment. In the grand scheme of things, it's probably just a couple seconds of fame and living this life where you indulge all of your what pleasures and desires and all of that stuff, it's very, very nearsighted. And there's just,
Man, I can't get into this. You guys think I'm crazy.
what do you mean?
It's only episode 2, dude. We
All right. All right.
can't be getting into this.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll rein it back in. Sorry, man. I didn't get you fired up. But
I'm I was I was certain I
mhm.
was gonna wanna,
Yeah. No, I get
and
it.
that's not what this episode's about.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Maybe we could do a side episode devoted to talking about weird stuff. I think that would be kind of fun. But so
Or just
or
the
tied
devil
in.
in the culture.
Yeah. Yeah. But one thing I thought about the last part, still the other seed fell on good soil, where it produced crops of 160 or 30 times what was sown. Uh, I guess in that time, that return was just unheard of.
Not even in that time. You can't do that now.
Right. And that was like really impactful for people to hear because a lot of them were farmers. And if you knew farmer or farming rather, this was kind of it was actually unheard of. Like it just wasn't. They couldn't believe what they were hearing.
But what does the fruit even mean? You know?
I guess
What exactly is he talking about when he says fruit?
your spirit, your good deeds. This is see you walked me into a corner, dude. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but I'm hoping you do.
I mean, I think you answered it decently,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but
So just your
fruit would just be,
go ahead. Sorry.
oh, there's so many ways to talk about the fruit.
Mm-hmm.
It's so interesting how much Jesus talks about faith with plants.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He does it all the time.
Right.
And I think he does that because faith goes slowly,
Mm-hmm.
just like plants do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that you notice immediately.
Mm-hmm.
It's something you'll notice over every week. You're
Right.
like, this week, oh, yeah, well, at the end of the week, you
Right.
weigh yourself,
Yeah.
you do a little spiritual weighing.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, hey,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the way it works. I think maybe that's why he does that.
I love that you said that because that's something that I've noticed. Like when I get too caught up in stumbling, I kind of look back and see like how I've changed up into that point, how I would have reacted not so many moons ago, you know? So that's,
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, because it is like a plant, right? You have to water it, you have to give it the word,
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
to sunlight.
You're, you're in your spiritual growth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing, like what you said earlier with Jesus catching up to you, is that say you're early in your faith journey and you die then,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you just didn't have time to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say that Jesus would know that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like,
Absolutely.
yeah, he was growing. It reminds me of the other parable where, there's the plant
Mm-hmm.
and the owner's like, listen, this plant hasn't produced any fruit for a couple of years. Let's chop it down.
Right.
And he's like, wait a minute. Let's help it out a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if it doesn't bear any fruit, then we'll just have to chop it down and throw it into the fire. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's one of the most obvious and one of my favorite parables.
Yeah, that's good.
It's so straightforward.
Right.
Just so it's so much a God giving you grace
Mm-hmm.
and time. He gives you so much time.
Yeah.
People act like there's not much time. Listen, just watch the clock. It goes by slow.
Mm-hmm. But interesting you say that because I feel that way. I feel like I'm very far behind the curve. So that's why I bought all these books. I'm pulling myself in 1,000 different directions. I bought a book on how to study the Bible. I bought the Bible. I bought the theology book. I bought another book. And it's like, I don't know. I bought a book on doubt, right? I'm like, I don't know where to dedicate my time. But most of my time gets wrapped up in the Bible, which I think is probably the best place it could be if I'm unsure. But I really want to get
Yeah,
into that stuff. It's just a matter of time and my poor time management and all that good
that
stuff.
and
But
having a friend.
yeah.
Well, we should have well, like we've said,
Mm-hmm.
people listening,
Mm-hmm.
we want to make a little Bible study in the Discord group.
Yeah.
We want we want the community members to be a part of the Bible study.
Yeah, man.
Man, we should probably say this earlier in the episode.
Yeah, right.
We should put it in the description.
Yeah, I could put it in the description. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll have to figure out a day and time
Yeah. Dude, I
for it.
would,
But
man, I would love that because I'm really getting into picking the verses apart, like with the study Bible, and then I'll reference things I'm unsure of with ChatGPT, and I bought a dictionary for biblical terms and all of that stuff, like the places and all of that
well,
stuff.
and now you're gonna get logos.
And I'm gonna get logos. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm pretty excited about that, actually.
Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah. So I also, so there's this website called Our Daily Bread University because I was kind of keen on going back to school for theology. So I got a subscription to that, and I started a Bible study course, like teaching you how to study the Bible. So it's like when I say I'm pulling myself in like 10 or 15 directions, I mean it, dude. Like I want to know it
It's
all
all the
now.
same direction.
Yeah,
You're just bringing a lot of tools with you,
that's a very I like that you put it that way.
like a
But
handyman. You're bringing a belt. You're like Batman
yeah, yeah, dude, that's pretty sweet. I like that. Yeah,
with this utility belt of all these
yeah,
gizmos,
right.
gadgets I got.
And I mean, so I think maybe I mentioned this before or to you, but a coworker that I tend to not get along with all the time, I left my theology book on my desk at work, and I come in one day, and this person is sitting there looking through it, and they kind of like, oh, sorry, and I was like, initially I was upset. I was like, why are you touching my things? But
Is this a
then,
Japanese person?
yeah, yeah. So
That's what's cool.
right. And then, like, not even a minute or two later, I'm like, why did I get upset about someone being curious about Christ, right? Or Christianity,
Especially a native.
right? And so I thought about it. I'm like, that is silly that I got upset with that. So I made up my mind. I was gonna go offer this person the book to read, right? And they came in like right as I was getting up to ask if they wanted to read it, and asked if they could read it again. I was like, oh yeah, yeah, of course you can, please. And then they asked if they could get it at the library on base, and I was like, this is crazy, dude. But
Hmm.
I, speaking of planting seeds and following along the path, like the next couple of days, they didn't ask to read it or anything like that. I put it out on my desk with the intention of them reading it, and we fell into having more problems. But I was like, man, so close, right? That interest. And now they even discuss with a guy that I do Bible study with, who also works with us. They discuss the Bible and biblical things with them. And I thought, man, it's so awesome to see that develop. Like, I understand why people get into ministry and stuff now, because that feeling of someone coming to God and knowing Jesus like I do, although my knowledge is limited, right? It's, dude, it's so cool to see, man. I
You keep
love it,
saying
dude.
that.
It
You keep
is
saying that. What do you feel like you don't know?
everything, dude. I don't know what I don't know. That's part of the problem too. It's just
Okay. Yeah, you know what? That makes perfect sense.
I mentioned it earlier. I don't want to mislead people, right? Like being a pastor and misleading your flock and dooming them all to hell. But and I'm not
I
afraid
would
to
argue
be.
that if you actually have the Holy Spirit, it's hard to mislead people.
Yes, I would. Knowing what I know now, yes, I would wholeheartedly agree.
Because I could sometimes find myself thinking about something, and then the spirit's like, nope, that ain't it. I'm like, you're right. That that
Yeah.
ain't it.
Yeah.
I like have a thought, and your spirit's like, nope.
Right.
And that's what and I got pretty good discernment when it comes to that,
Yeah.
but not much. I'm not good at discernment for like anything else,
Yeah. Well,
and that's fine.
let
I
me
I don't need it.
let me try to explain myself, I guess. I don't have self-confidence at all. In fact, I can't.
Hmm.
It makes me sick to speak in front of people. So this is quite an undertaking for me. So if I sound nervous sometimes, that's why. It's because I'm horrible at speaking in front of people. But those insecurities make me afraid of criticism and being wrong. Like I don't like to be wrong because of
Mhm.
I don't know where that came
Yeah,
from, right? So when I am wrong, it defeats me. Then I get in my head. Then I question things. So it's like I guess
for
that's
sure.
why I
I
keep
feel that.
admitting, yeah. So that's why I keep saying like I don't know much because I don't want people to think that I'm out here on this stump like trying to convince you of things that I don't necessarily understand quite yet, or maybe that's a bad way of putting it, but giving them the wrong information, right? Does that kind of make
Yeah.
sense? Do you kind of understand where I'm coming from?
Well, yeah.
But I feel
Especially if people are listening to you for truth,
right.
you should give it to them.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um that's why I have so many tools, right? So
Yeah, utility belt.
but when I started getting back into the Bible, at our Bible studies, we would talk about doing gaming stuff with the people I work with and talking about God. And dude, it really spoke to me. Like I felt compelled in a way I haven't really felt compelled about something in a long time. So I feel like maybe this is the direction I'm being pulled. I don't know. I hope it is because I love doing it. I think it's a lot of fun. Plus, it's
Seems
an
good to
excuse.
me.
Yeah. Well, plus it's an excuse to talk to you because I don't often get the opportunity much
It
anymore.
is true that this is when we talk.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we just talk. We text,
Yeah, we do a lot of texting, don't we?
and then when we talk with our voice, other people get in on it.
Yeah. But and maybe I'm weird in that regard because I love listening to stuff like this. Um, Listening to people who are new to it like me and have a bigger platform and are able to pull experts um, to come talk on their show. Right? I think that's the coolest thing in the world. To be able to experience that firsthand would be pretty sweet. Maybe one
Pretty
day, huh?
sweet, Dave.
Maybe one day.
It would. It would. You,
But I mean, I'm not trying to
want some
gas you
guests?
up.
Do you?
Yeah, and I'm not trying to gas you up, but
Good.
I view you in that way. You to me are an expert, right?
What?
S-
Why?
because
What I do?
you have an answer for everything I say. Like I said, I'm not trying to gas you up or make this
Oh,
all about you,
okay.
but you have a lot of answers to questions I don't really
That's
understand. Like you have
Test
valuable
me right.
insight.
Test
Yeah.
me right now.
Huh? No, don't put me on the spot, dude.
Test me right now. What question you got?
No, I mean just like the interpretation of things, right? Like relying on you or leaning heavily on you for this episode in particular, right? Um,
Um, what's neat about that is that my mom told me that I understood the Bible like really early.
oh,
Like
really? Yeah,
she was like, when you read the Bible when you were like 12, you understood the Bible more than I do now.
that's crazy, dude.
And I was like, all right. Made sense to me.
Yeah. Well, maybe
Maybe it's
that's your
because
gift, right?
maybe it's because a little autism and ADHD.
Yeah. And dude, maybe that's your gift, right? Maybe this is where we were supposed to be. I hope it is. And even if
Well,
nothing comes of it.
I'm supposed to be in the ministry, and I just ignored it for a long time because I was in it before,
Mm-hmm.
and I've tried to make online platforms before, not with a lot of heart
Yeah.
though,
Right.
but it's just that no one ever would respond to anything, so I just stopped.
Well, it's kind of
The
defeating,
only
right?
other
Yeah.
response I got where it was like hate,
Really?
but hate's also, I don't know, a motivator for me. It doesn't make
Yeah.
me feel bad.
Right.
Listen, these people, if you're not a believer, your opinion of me doesn't really matter.
Right. But because
Um,
we are of the world, that's a hard thing to remember sometimes, especially for me, because I
it's not
valued
so
what
much
people
me
thought.
anymore.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I
Well,
would love that.
well, you got to think I was always pretty antisocial.
Hmm.
I didn't even go to prom.
Really? Not even one time,
Yeah, I
huh?
didn't go to any. Nope, no prom.
Hmm.
Not a single prom. Not a single dance.
Hmm.
Nothing.
Yeah.
None of that.
So let me ask you this: do you regret that at all?
Hmm.
It's a tough
I
question,
feel
isn't it?
like I probably should.
Yeah.
Probably should have.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
but I don't regret it.
Right. Yeah.
It's not something I tear myself up about.
Yeah. I think that was actually the perfect way to
Not
answer that question. Yeah.
not worth the word regret.
Right.
But was I a weird, kid who wasn't very social? Yes.
I don't know about that, dude. You're pretty social with me. Sitting in front of you in
You see
physics
what
class.
you see what I just did?
Yes, I did.
Amazing.
Stop it.
You
Stop doing that.
just mentioned physics class.
Yeah, dude. Because that's like my most prominent. Because
That's when you really learn the kind of person I was, wasn't it?
oh, dude. But I also didn't want to be there because that class was hard. And so
Yeah,
to see
after
you
like
not
week
care,
one, yeah, after week one, I knew that I was getting an F in this class. And so I didn't care about anything.
yeah,
Not a thing.
right. Dude. Oh, and that I loved that so much. It drew me to you, dude. It really did.
Really, yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
I was like, man, I don't really need this class to graduate. And it's kind of an upper level class, so you have to kind of not be super dumb to take it, if memory serves. But
Yeah.
there were some prerequisites, right? And I was bad at chemistry, all of it, dude. So it's like I had no business. Oh, no way, dude. Did you see that?
Well, we had to have taken integrated chemistry and physics.
Yeah. Oh, is that what it was? Is that what I? Yeah, I don't remember anything, dude.
Well,
Teacher was
that would
cool
have
though.
been the prerequisite
Hmm.
because that's the beginner physics, and then we took real physics, and
Mm. Yeah.
that wasn't any good. That was bad.
Yeah.
Didn't like it.
Yeah.
Like the teacher would be talking, he'd be talking up there, and I would just be talking
Right. Yeah.
to
Right.
you, to you guys,
There
and
was.
he just learned to deal with it.
I mean, he was a pretty cool guy. To be fair, I really like that guy.
Yeah, he was.
Um, I'm kind of a savant at this. I think this game. So yeah.
There's a big thing there that I was saved so early on,
Hmm.
and my mom was such a apocalyptist,
Hmm.
that I didn't think I was gonna even get to this age. I thought
Oh
the
yeah.
world was gonna
Right. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Yeah.
end. And so oops
Hmm.
on that,
Yeah.
you know. Uh, but that's what I believed,
Yeah.
and
Oops.
even that, even if it wasn't true, it was just that I had such faith in God that like these worldly things don't matter to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's almost like the really big things I can shrug off,
Hmm.
and the really little things are what bother me for some reason.
Yeah. I understand that. I have noticed that as my faith has gotten stronger, I've put less stock in this worldly stuff. Like things don't tend to bother me as much. And dude, I love it. Like again, if I get stressed out at work, I just remember that it's like, who cares, dude? It'll be
Right.
fine. It'll be fine. It'll work itself out. So
I don't like stress though.
yeah,
I
it's
don't
not
like it.
fun. I don't think anybody thinks it's very fun.
Hmm. Well, I don't like body stress. I'm pretty bad at that. I need to learn how to like relax my muscles better
Well, well,
because I get my body gets so tense. So,
yeah, I know how that goes, man.
man, you got to chill.
Yeah, it's I stretch a lot. You can do stretching. That kind of helps. Like I stretch
Yeah,
before bed and it
yes,
gets me tired.
I learned. I have started stretching again
Mm-hmm.
after having my little nervous breakdown
Yep.
about a month ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it's helped.
Yeah.
I need to be more physical in general.
Yeah. Yeah. We
In
all do.
fact, I heard from my doctor today, and she said, "Brian, you got to make some lifestyle changes, or I'm going to want to put you on a statin." I'm like, "Well, I don't want to go on a statin.
Forgive
I
me.
don't
I don't
like
know what that is.
statins. Statins are drugs that lower your cholesterol,
Uh oh. Hmm.
but they're not. I don't think they're good for you because the way that it like controls fat in your blood, it's bad for your brain.
Oh, really?
A lot of people think it's a contributing factor to Alzheimer's.
Ooh, yeah. Maybe don't do that,
So it's like, oh, maybe you should just not be fat
huh?
instead of, taking even more pills.
Yeah, but if it's any consolation, I have not trained in probably 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm kind of in the same boat. It's hard to get motivated when you get out. And I experienced that when I would get injuries in powerlifting and strongman too. Like having to rebuild. Because I remember you telling me that you were walking like for long distances and just listening to podcasts and you lost all that weight, right?
Yeah, I would usually I would try to listen to a whole episode of Joe Rogan or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like 2.5 hours.
Right. Yeah, they're really long.
And I would try to walk the whole time. And I have taken scribbles on walks lately, but not at night.
Mm-hmm. Scribbler's your dog.
And I would like to, yeah, yeah. I have a dachshund named Scribbles. Maybe one of the podcasts will on the YouTube one at least we'll put a little picture of him on there.
Yeah. Just a background image of your dog.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. But
But I should start walking them at night again because that's when I believe God walks the earth. You guys
mm-hmm.
can believe what you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, I believe that God's presence is always walking around the earth at nighttime as it's circling the earth.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a part of the spirit is always there around 3, 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And you go out. I love to go outside and pray around 3, 4 a.m.
Yeah.
because I feel like God's out there a little more. And it wasn't something that I said. I mean, that was something that Perry Stone taught me about tradition. This would be old Jewish tradition.
Uh-huh. Oh, so they believe that.
Is what? Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
that part I did not know. I remember you saying that you
He
do like going out
he
there.
would have he learned that from rabbis in Israel.
Right. Because you say he goes to Israel all the time, right? Isn't that like one of his favorite places?
Yeah, he's been there like 40 times. Yeah.
That's a lot of money. Holy crap. That's crazy.
That's I love how that's where you went. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of times to visit any one place, right? But
Probably once a year for 40 years
that's very interesting. I just can't imagine that being.
until the times that you can't go, like recently.
Oh yeah, because he had
But
like health issues and stuff, right?
no, Israel's being bombed.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, there's also that.
That's why.
Yeah, that's a good point. I
No,
actually.
his health problems have been. It's been a couple years now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I
But
typically
hey, I mean, other than my cholesterol, everything else is fine. Like I'm not even pre-diabetic.
really.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's one of the big ones, right? And if you're gaining weight, is the diabetes.
yeah,
And that's what I try
yeah.
to.
She said that kidney, liver, and thyroid and sugar are all great.
Wow. Do you eat a lot of sugar? Like when you're.
No,
Yeah.
I would say I drink a decent amount of sugar. I don't eat sugar really. I'm not like a sweets or candy kind of guy.
Oh, you're so lucky, dude. This is like Japan is like
I
the home of sweets and candy, dude. It's awful.
I like a pastry with some milk.
Yeah,
Sometimes I like a cookie.
that's what's up, dude. I
Give me
like
a
that, dude.
cookie with some milk,
Yeah,
like Santa Claus.
like Santa Claus. I was just gonna say that. All right, Santa.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like pastries that are just a vehicle for drinking milk
yeah. Well, so you
because
just
it's
really
the only
like
way
drinking
I'll
milk.
drink milk. No, because I don't drink milk on its own. I need a pastry
Yeah,
to I need a rich pastry that the milk will cut through.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I also enjoy that, so I laugh because it just sounds funny. But yeah, I understand that 100%.
And well, when you're on a keto diet, all you want is that pastry with that milk.
Oh, I'm sure, dude.
To the
Absolutely.
point that, as my one friend said, and I've always repeated it since I heard her say it,
Mhm.
that the smell of cinnamon rolls will just make you cry. Just want them. They smell so good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I believe that. Yeah. I've been there. Uh, when I was
Yeah.
dieting for my fight, dude, I there was a point where I was down to 20 carbs per meal cuz I wound up being like way under the weight limit, but I was so concerned about not making the weight limit for that. Dude, we were eating at a restaurant one time a couple weeks out and my wife looks at me and she's just like, why are you doing this? You look so miserable. I was like, oh yeah, because that's how I feel. like how I look is how I feel, 100%. But yeah, she's like, you should not be doing this. I was like, wow, but I have to, for me, right? I was putting myself above everything
Yeah.
else. But anywho,
Um, dude, this is what you do here. Check it out.
and you'll be able to see on the video, golf with friends.
Okay.
Because we can leave it in. I haven't changed the screen at all. So
Oh, that's all. That's all.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's what I'm talking about.
So if you had to summarize this, do you have I know you probably are tired, but can you summarize anything? Do you have any words of wisdom or anything you want to impart?
Get let's get out of the world and back into the word.
Yeah, yeah, dude. So you did listen to those videos then? I had no idea you did. Did I send them to you, or did you just
Not
find them?
not all of
Well,
them
there's only
or
two, but
anything like that.
yeah, there's only two.
No,
Arguably, the
I
second
didn't
one's
listen.
better.
Okay, well I didn't listen to that one yet.
Yeah, you said I sounded nervous in the first one, and most certainly, because that was not a critique, but something that my dad said as well, that I sounded super nervous. I was like, yeah, man, I can't even talk in front of people. So to put myself
Did
out
we
there.
uh did we talk about the tears yet, or are we not going to touch that one?
The what? I'm sorry.
The parable right after that about the tears. Maybe that'll be next episode.
Yes. And I mean, we could wrap a couple up into one episode, I think. Because I think we're sitting right around 134 now. I know the last one was almost like 3 hours, and I don't know if people have the.
Yeah, it's probably a bit long.
Right. But man, I really enjoyed that. Like, I listened back to it to kind of make sure there wasn't anything that needed to be addressed in this episode, like I say anything weird or anything. And I like listening to videos like that. Just it felt pretty natural. It was a lot of
Oh
fun.
yeah, we all do.
Yeah,
We all do. We
but
love it.
I understand that if you're not sitting down at a computer playing a game or doing something else that you don't have to think much about, that would be a lot of time to invest in something. So,
You just I'll just get back into it here
yeah.
because right after he tells the parable,
Mm-hmm.
he says, "Who hath ears to hear,
Right.
let him hear."
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, "What was all that about?"
Yeah.
This says Christ revealed the reason
Mm-hmm.
for parables
Mm-hmm.
to reveal the mysteries of the kingdom to his disciples.
Mm-hmm.
The religious Jews often misunderstood or misrepresented Christ's messages, which the Old Testament prophets predicted in Isaiah 42:19 to 20.
Mm.
The prophets prophesied that the people of Israel would hear physically and not hear spiritually, see physical and not see, discern spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
To see physically and not see spiritually is what I meant there.
Yeah.
And then those who can hear the parables and understand them are blessed. And I've just always understood parables. There's never been a parable I didn't understand.
That is crazy because I struggled with him, and that was a big point of anxiety and concern for me because of what this
Really?
one says. Though seeing they do not see, though hearing they do not hear or understand. And I wasn't understanding it, so I was like, am I the bad guy here? But no, it's getting a little better. Got all these tools.
No, I feel like I don't know. God's word's always spoken to me really well
Mm-hmm.
because it's alive
Mm-hmm.
and lives within me.
Right.
I'm not good at knowing verses, but you've seen it where like you say something, I'm like, yeah, that's like when this.
Yeah.
And you're like, where's that at? I'm like, I don't know. Look it up. Go- Google it.
Right, and
It's in there.
I
I
think
know it's in there.
yeah. And again, not trying to gas you up, but that is always held true. I'll look it up, and it's there. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's what's up.
that's what's up, dude. But yeah, I think I read through the Gospels too fast because I was really excited about getting to Revelation,
Yeah.
was
Yeah. Oh, really?
and excited about learning.
You can just skip the revelation.
Right, but I was told initially that the best way you can start is to start with the Gospels because Genesis, or I mean, the Old Testament is the Old Testament, but the Gospels are like a great starting point for your journey.
Yeah, for a long time it's like all I cared about.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was a baby Christian, I didn't even care about the Old Testament.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with when I read the Old Testament. For some reason, I started with Ecclesiastes,
Oh, okay.
which is like the most depressing, like woe is me book in the Old Testament. And
Interesting.
I didn't know that at the
Yeah.
time, so I was like, this is brutal.
Yeah.
I don't like this.
Right.
I like Jesus.
Uh huh.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. 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 I mean,
And so the Old Testament scared me for a long time. It did.
right.
Like all throughout my teenage years, I didn't touch it.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I understand that
And
so much.
heck, dude, I didn't even touch it in my 20s, really. I mean, hardly.
Yeah. No, because
Now,
oh,
now I really like Elijah,
yeah.
and I like anything to do with Elijah and Elisha,
Mm-hmm.
and I love Job.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a really long episode on Job one of these days.
I like that because that poor guy, dude. Unshakable faith. So maybe not a poor guy, but wow, that dude went through it, man. Crazy, crazy, crazy story.
There's a big part of that book that I tell people often, or whenever they have doubts like that,
Mm-hmm.
that it's like you got to remember that in the book of Job, that they're like, and through all this, Job never cursed God with his mouth.
Mm.
And like that's important
Yeah.
to know that his thoughts didn't matter.
Right.
thoughts that come into your head, attacks,
Mm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
temptations, bad thoughts. That's not you.
Right.
You're not everything you think.
Right. But
And they taught that a long time ago
did you
in
see that?
Job.
I jumped right into that. Right into that one. Yeah. But yeah, I think they talk about what is it? And I'm gonna grossly uh misrepresent it, but your words are like from your heart, right? So they kind of speak to
Yeah,
what
well,
you feel
Jesus
in your heart.
Jesus said that Jesus said that what comes out of your mouth is what defiles you,
Right. That's what I was trying to get at. Right.
not what goes in.
Yeah. 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 That's
Yeah,
what it was.
you can destroy yourself with your words, which is why we recently listened to a thing that just tells you to shut up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes she really provokes me.
Yeah.
That was me quoting the message. That's
Yeah.
not me. Said there's no woman provoking me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's right.
he was talking
Sometimes
about his
you.
wife.
Yeah, dude.
His wife telling him to shut up.
Right.
No,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
you shut up.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from, but you should probably shut up.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
And
And
you
that
know
really
what?
provoked me.
Sometimes sometimes she really provokes me.
Oh, dude.
I love how he's just always so truthful.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was kind of casual too. He's like, that just really provokes me. I guess it wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, is there any? I wonder if there's any legality issues or anything with posting, like some of the sermons to some of the videos that we find relevant or find cool.
Oh, I don't know. I actually don't know.
Surely there's no. I
I
guess
want to
there's
say
a.
that we could do that in a whole episode, and that would be a cool episode to do.
What's that? Talk about
That's
sermons?
actually great. That's a great idea. Yes,
Yeah.
talk about sermons and play clips of some of our favorite sermons as of late.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. Let me write that
That's an
down.
episode, a kind of episode we could do every, I don't know, 3 months or something.
Yeah. I mean, I put that we would have shows weekly, and I think this kind of goes past that weekly mark, but like 8 or 9 days or something. But I'm not
That's
opposed.
because,
Well, life, but I'm not opposed to doing more than one video a week. Like if we just have the time, we can get together and voice chat. Like it doesn't.
yeah, if we have other ideas, I mean,
Right.
we're just doing another parable podcast episode. There's tons of other things we could do.
Right. And they don't all have to be even an hour. They could just be a 30-minute or however long
We
the
plan
sermon is.
on
Yeah.
we plan on doing YouTube videos with actual video,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is what you're talking about here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we could
I would
post this
love
with
that.
the golf with friends, right? I don't think that it's not distracting. I mean, it's kind of funny watching some of these shots, but just to play in the background of the video, I don't think that's too
No,
a bad idea.
should be
But
fine.
yeah. But anyways, sorry. Let's
A
get
lot
back
of
on track.
a lot of cartoony games we could play. I love cartoony games.
Yeah. Well, plus this one is fun
Yeah,
because you can still talk.
if you're here, yeah, yeah, like if you're here to play like realistic games, okay, well then go outside. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I've ever said about that.
Yeah.
It's not realistic. Good.
Now, you need to make a distinction. Are you talking about realistic graphics or just being a realistic game
Oh no, I'm
in
talking
its
about
totality?
realistic graphics.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love cartoony graphics.
Yeah.
I love silly cartoony graphics. Dude, one of my favorite places is Booty Bay.
Yeah. In World of Warcraft?
That Yes, that
Yeah.
place is cartoony.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything about Booty Bay, the name
Mm-hmm.
is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I love Booty Bay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a great example. People are
Yeah.
listening going to Google that.
It's good. I would assume that a lot of
What-
people who've played video games have played or know of World of Warcraft, but assuming
Hey,
you know what that means, but
maybe
makes
they have.
something out of me and something out of you. Um. Anyways, man, we got off track again. I hope it was relevant. Let's see, where were we?
It's all relative to Jesus.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it?
Well, if it's not, it'll circle around back to him.
Yeah, I think we've done an okay job of that. You know. Yeah, I guess I never realized that the parable after the one of the sower is of the weeds, of the mustard seed and the yeast. And then he did
Yeah, dude,
explain the parable of the weeds?
he
I
goes
didn't know that.
back. He goes back to back,
Yeah.
back to back to back, all herbalist theme.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the growing theme, right? The fostering.
They're plant theme, dude.
Right.
It actually kind of makes me want to become a gardener.
Yeah, dude, it's funny you
How
say
much
that.
he
Yeah.
talks about plants.
Right. I've actually
'Cause I feel
entertained that
like,
idea too.
yeah, I feel like becoming a gardener would help me understand, even though I do
Mm-hmm.
understand.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it would be nice to live it.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Plus, there's just something
And the
that's
thing
working
is
with your
that I
hands.
could easily do that. I got the backyard for that.
I've got the
I
small
got a
driveway.
backyard that can grow anything. I got backyard that'll grow tons of stuff I don't want it to grow. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
like it's fertile out there.
Yeah. Well, plus it gets you outside and stuff. And there's something to be said about working with your hands. I don't think there's anything more satisfying. Like when I was doing construction work and you see the end
Yeah.
product, it's satisfying, dude. Like you remodeling your house or that room in your house, I think you're going to be very satisfied and kind of fulfilled after you do that because there's just something to be said about
I did a lot.
working with your
I did
hands.
a lot out there today.
Yeah. How's it coming along?
So we the ceiling had tile,
Mm-hmm.
like foam tile.
Mm-hmm.
And so the ceiling, the drywall behind that wasn't really presentable for
Yeah.
that reason.
Uh-huh.
And I went through and like pulled out like 200 staples. It was ridiculous. Um, that took a long time.
Yeah, no kidding.
But then my, and then Chris, my friend, he helped the ceiling a lot by like putting up tape and mudding it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And then my brother came along and did a little bit more.
Yeah.
And he sanded a lot. He sanded so much,
Really?
and it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Like I did paint the ceiling with the primer,
Yeah.
and he was like, well, when you paint it, a lot of the flaws will come out,
Mhm.
and they did.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it like looks worse than it did, and so I'm like thinking, it's like, well, we weren't going to do a textured ceiling
Mhm.
because that's really annoying to do
Right.
or expensive. You
Mhm.
know, I asked Chris how much it would be for him to spray
Mhm.
a texture, and he said it'd be $300.
Okay.
And I was like, that's gross.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So like you're supposed to get like plaster
Mhm.
and just roll it on there,
Yeah.
and then you would have to paint that again. I'm like, that sounds so annoying. I already painted the ceiling, you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
Um, but then I looked it up. I found that you can get texture that you just dump into paint
Mhm.
and it like emulsifies with the paint. And I bought that stuff and it came with a million cancer warnings on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the textured stuff did.
Ugh.
But I think it was only for like if you inhale it. So
Yeah.
when I dumped it into the paint, there actually was very little dust. I'll
Mhm.
give it that much.
Mhm.
There was like no dust at all, maybe up to the bucket rim.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. Did you wear a
I was like, well,
mask?
that's good. I wore a COVID mask and a shirt wrapped around the COVID mask.
That's what's up. That's extra safe.
Yeah, yeah. And then when I was done with it, I threw that shirt immediately in the washer.
Yeah.
Well, that's where you're going.
Yeah. That's
Cancer
wild.
shirt, cancer
Cancer
shirt.
shirt.
Anyway, dude, this stuff totally like mixed in with the paint and
Yeah.
like made it like a soft concrete.
Wow.
Because it looks like concrete because it's got all like
Right.
the bits in it
Yeah.
for the texture. And
Right.
but yeah, it made the paint like really pasty,
Yeah.
and it was cool. It was really easy to put on
Yeah.
and it looks nice.
I bet. I bet it does.
Crazy how easy it was if you just ignore all the cancer
Yeah,
warnings.
right. Except for the part where it could kill you. Yeah.
Yeah, don't pick at the texture on the ceiling and eat it. Don't do that. But as long as you're not messing with it, it should be fine.
Yeah. Well,
It's some kind of silica, is all it is.
I'll have to take your word for it because I don't even know what that is.
Silica is like a kind of silica is made from sand.
Well, I know there are
It's what
silica
they make.
pearls
It's
in
what
art.
they make. It's what they make all the computer chips out of. That's why Silicon Valley is called Silicon Valley,
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah. Maybe at one
because
point. I knew.
computer chips.
Yeah.
You know.
Reminds me of those G.I. Joe shows. Hey, kid, I'm a computer. Stop all the downloading. You remember those?
Yes, of course I do. Anyone that's listening and doesn't know, make sure you Google that too.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe. I just want to ride my motorcycle.
I think my favorite one is the pork chop sandwiches, dude.
Yes,
They
we
set the house
can't.
on fire.
We can't quote that one.
No.
We can't quote that one on this podcast. Yeah.
No, it's a little vulgar,
Pork
but
chop sandwiches. What do you get out of here? Well, yeah, literally, like that was like prime late '90s,
Oh yeah, dude.
early 2000s,
Right.
because those came out like '99, 2000,
Yeah.
or something.
That was right around
Fun.
the time of Newgrounds. Do you remember Newgrounds? That site you could play all
Yeah.
the games on, and it had all the cool videos, like the Rob Zombie video or whatever.
I wasn't. You know what? I wasn't big on Newgrounds. I was big on Rather Good. Rathergood.com and Homestar Runner.
Yeah, Homestar Runner, I knew. Yeah. But
I was bigger on those.
really, I didn't know Rather Good, but I also didn't know you at the time, so that's probably part of it.
Same thing, dude. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It was just a different website.
But
Same thing.
as
It
much as
was it just a bunch of Flash videos.
right,
Sure
yeah,
was.
and games. They had games on it too. Lots of games.
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 That's how Homestar would say it.
Well, I hate to do this, but do you have
But
any?
we're out of here.
Yeah. Well, I got to get to work in the next hour or so. Do you have any final thoughts? I think we discussed what we set out to discuss, but I don't know if we like brought it all together in any way. And you know how heavily I lean on you to use your words.
Well, the parable talks about sowing seeds of the gospel and how you should expect it to have multiple results. Don't preach the gospel at people and have your own expectations. The Bible already tells you the expectations, and they're literally right here.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually.
And so take that as encouragement.
Yeah.
Take it as a teaching,
Yeah.
because that's what it is.
Right. Well,
He is our great teacher.
I would argue that the first two would maybe be the most relevant, or what you will see the most, right? Either people just not listening, you say something to them, they're like, oh yeah, they acknowledge it, right? And then it just gets plucked away by the birds. And then the second, like maybe for a couple weeks they're into it, everything's good, they're super excited about it, and then it kind of just falls off. that would probably be like the biggest two if you're out preaching the gospel. You know what I mean?
Most of them, yeah, unless you have a church.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the people that get excited and fall off, I feel like they don't, they it's because they don't have a foundation.
Right.
They don't
Exactly.
have friends.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a church.
Right.
And that's what we're doing here, trying to make a stronger foundation. We're trying to make good soil here, boys.
And that's what it's all about,
We're
dude.
trying to make some good soil together.
Yeah.
Together, we can be some mighty fine soil.
That we can. Amen, dude. I like that.
Yeah.
See, this is why I had you tie it all together. You're a real wordsmith, so to speak.
Um, Dude, I just let the spirit say what it wants to say.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that planned. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's working. I like it. It was great. But
Amen, brother.
amen, dude. As always, it's a pleasure, man. No, I promise you, I'll try to make more time in the future, even if it's not videos, just to hang out online. You know.
No, I like the idea of the kind of like a reaction
Yeah.
video,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but we're not reacting. It'd be for them to react.
Right.
It's just like, hey, we're nerds that listen to a lot of preaching and
Right.
stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and these are the highlights.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of doing a video like that.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
And
And
then once we get more, we can make another one.
right.
You know, it'd be a series. I'll have to think of a name.
Yeah. No, I think that would be a great idea, dude. Because
It's making me excited.
yeah. No, when you mentioned that, it was awesome. I like that idea a lot. So hopefully we could do it. Hopefully this episode reaches somebody who needs to hear it. You know, even if it doesn't, it's fun, man, and it holds me accountable. I don't know if you need any accountability in your life, but it makes me look into the things and better understand them, so I don't misspeak. So I guess that fear of misspeaking is helpful in that way, right? Because I do kind of dive into it more. So,
We
but
should end with prayer.
you have something in mind?
Well, I think we should both say a prayer.
That makes me so nervous.
Oh no.
Yeah, makes me very nervous.
I'll say a prayer.
All right, I tell you what. I'll
Let
say
me
one on
think
the
of
next
let me
episode.
let me think of a prayer for the sower.
Okay, and I'll work on one for the
Well,
next episode.
well, Lord, we come to you humble, pathetic creatures that are nibbling at your word. We want the word to spread to others and for them to know it like we do. Lord, I really want you to purge me. I want you to take the things away from me that I refuse to give up. And I want you to bend my will to yours. And I hope that you do this for everyone that wants it. I pray this in the name of Jesus. Amen, brother.
Amen, dude. That was awesome. Seriously awesome. That had me feeling some kind of way. Especially the nibbling at the word, dude. Oh man, that's so good. That's so good, dude. Not to gas you up. It's about him.
I've never
You know.
I've never even said or heard that before.
Yeah, that was great. Man, that's inspiring. Actually, is what it is. So now I have to match that next time. Oh man.
That wasn't anything. Just a little prayer.
Yeah, it was good, man.
A little request.
Yeah, I like that.
Help us.
Yeah.
Help us. I'm like the rusty, you know, you got a nice cast iron skillet.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the one in the back.
Yep.
That's it's like, well, this look at this one.
Right.
This one needs help.
Yeah.
This one needs reseasoned.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's me. That's me, dude.
Oh, that might be both of us, dude. Who knows?
That's everyone.
It is everyone, isn't it?
Our greatest works are filthy rags to him.
Filthy, filthy rags, dude.
Filthy, yes.
I that doesn't even describe it adequately, but that's probably the best description we could put into words. But that's not even doesn't even scratch the surface, man.
Well,
But
that one's
anyways,
biblical.
yes, I know. Oh, I'm aware. Yeah.
Where is it? I don't know.
I'm not gonna say because I don't want to be wrong, dude. I think I
That's
have
what
an
I'm
idea.
saying. I'm so bad at knowing. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. I want to
Where is it?
say,
It's in there somewhere.
did Paul say that? That sounds like a Paul thing.
Yes,
He
it
definitely
does,
did say
doesn't
it.
it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's
That's
absolutely
something he
Paul.
would say.
I mean, I'll put it at 99% chance of that being Paul. You know.
One hundo. Oh, you're not even in here anymore, are you?
No. I left. I got to go get ready for work. So.
Noise,
Yeah.
noise,
No.
Dave.
All right, man. It's been fun. Thank you for your insight.
It has.
Thank you for the prayer. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you
Well,
to
thank you
anyone
for
who listens.
doing everything else.
Nah, it's nothing. Nothing. You're carrying the team, dude. But yeah. Discord channel link will be in.
50-50.
Yeah, well, I'll put you at 75, me at 25. I will put. I'll link to Discord. If we start getting people, we're gonna pay for it, so the link will be permanent. But
Yes,
but
we will nitro boost it once it's worthy of nitro boosting. Because
I'll
at the moment it's not.
I'll do it for one or two people. That's how passionate I am about making friends in Christ. You know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so important.
with that being said, the
Uh,
links are weekly. So I'm bad about updating them. I kind of forget sometimes, but I am trying to update them. I did on the
eh,
Apple
uh,
podcast and the Spotify one as well.
set an alert on your calendar on your phone.
Yeah, that's what I'll wind up doing. But anyways, sorry to make this so long-winded, but again, thank you, man. Hopefully we can make time
Thank you.
for more than one video in a week. So
Thank you for listening.
yeah, thank you everybody. Until next
If you made it
time.
to here, if you made it to here, comment below.
Yeah, right. we'll give you something in a video game, dude.
Right?
Yeah.
I'll give you 10,000 gold and wow.
And I'll go farm some gold just to give you some. But yeah, until next time, my brother in Christ. Bye-bye.
Bye bye, everybody.